Good morning, everybody. Today is January 21st, 2023. Today we are going to the second day of the Roar Before the Rolex 24 Hours in Daytona. We are now heading out of the community down here in beautiful Melbourne, Florida. And I hope to bring you guys for a ride so that we can check out some cool cars and see some other cool stuff. That will be racing in the 24 hours. We have the new for 2023 LMDH, Le Mans, I don't know, I forget what it stands for. Hybrid cars based on the DPI cars of last year, except they all have the spec hybrid system built by Bosch. So here we have the Konica Minolta Acura. Moving along. These cars just got off track and are just getting back in the garage. They're having their setups fixed.
You know, when you're second, you can always try to time it when they're coming up on the GT4 cars and GSX cars and stuff like that. This is the first time we have this series
Cadillac
one for somebody else. Tell us how big of a play it's going to be, not only for learning, but just for driving well.
All the body panels are off.
We got a little advantage in a way. I ran weather spent a lot of time out there.
Several teams will run Cadillacs this year.
Things start to shake up more interesting. So definitely will be a major factor for Pat.
Now we have the Porsche LMDH. Body panels off. Not exactly sure what the mechanics are doing. The hydraulics, I guess I would say, changing setups.
Not only do you have to worry about it, but you know, I'm sure you have to worry about that red car behind you as well. Courtney, I'm sure you guys are going to put on a head to go.
Now we have a few GT3 cars. A Porsche 911 GT3.
But tell us what else.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody that's come out today.
Lexus.
That's our title
RCF.
sponsor here. We're also drawing attention to the Florida Green building coalition. So that's in Florida.
Vassar Sullivan has bought two Lexus GT3s. This year.
Let's hear one more time for Dan Goldberg, starting second on the grid.
And now we come over here to the Corvette C8R. Originally ran as a GTE car, converted to GT3 after GTE was no more last year.
She was looking for the
The two categories of GT3 this year, GT3, GTD as they call it in Daytona, and GTD Pro. GT3 requires one amateur driver. GTD Pro teams have all pro drivers. This is the Ferrari GTD Pro. Aston Martin GT3 running in the GTD Pro category. These are all built on GT3, built to compete internationally as GT3 cars, and they will be running in IMSA there called GTD as GTD Pro. These are GTD Pro cars. Two Aston Martin GTDs. It's always nice to see these. The Aston Martins, they're powered by Mercedes-Benz M177 engines. The unique thing about those engines is they're hot V designs, so the turbochargers are inside of the V, and the intake is on the outside, so that's why you see the exhaust coming from the middle of the engine right
We
there.
made our way here to talk to the pole winner. It is DSX.
Now we have my personal favorite car, the AMG GT3 Evo. This car is powered by Mercedes' last generation V8 engine, the M159, most famously powering the street car, the SLS AMG. Naturally aspirated 6.2 liters V8 engine, very beautiful car. It's very aggressive. I like the Evo kit with the big gaping mouth on the front. Very nice car. Best looking car here. Best looking GT3 car, in my opinion. Now we have the LMP2 cars. These will be running in the 24 hours, but it's a spec series, so these are all built by the same manufacturer, same engines. The real difference is going to be the setups and the drivers in these cars. Gibson V8 engines. I think these are built, the chassis are built by Orca. So, moving along. We have all of the different LMP2 cars. Very unique. Very nice looking cars.
Now tell us about this beautiful Ford
Very nice looking
How
cars.
it's
Very good, very good. And here we're approaching scrutineering down here. This tent right here is not here, those golf cart with body panels.
Not only to be here at Daytona, get the pole in the field, but to have all these scouts out here right before the race. It's so fun. Not, one of the only times I've had a chance to do it, but it kind of reminds me back when I was a little kid, and I was like, wow, the race car drives and stuff. It's really how fun it is just to be hanging out with all these.
The grid is packed this year. Absolutely packed. Several cars. I think there's 61 cars entered into the 24 hours of Daytona this year. Here we have another. This car is in scrutineering. I believe this is, I can't get a good look, but I believe we're looking at an LMP2 car. I don't know for sure once we see the front. So, all the mechanics hard at work getting these cars prepared. Here we have the BMW LMDH going through its scrutineering. Looks like the entire team is here to watch the car go through. And just behind that we have an Acura lined up for scrutineering. The medical cars provided by Porsche. More LMP2 cars right here. Body panels are all. All the cars that run LMP2 are exactly the same. Spec series. Same chassis, same engines, same everything. And now we will cut through this empty garage right here. Shiny, even when it's cloudy out. Two cars, GTs, or GT3s, depending on which you want. Now, something interesting to note here: the alternator is driven not off the engine under this car, this Ferrari. alternator and have it not wet power when you're going down long straight, so you don't suffer from parasitic losses. So you basically free up some extra horsepower used to turn the alternator. It's not using that anymore, so you can turn the alternator back on when you're coming back into your braking zones and when you don't need as much power, when you don't need all the power from the engine. Front of a Ferrari GT3 car, GT3, Porsche GT3. Not bad. Porsche GT3. Another one. And now we have another Mercedes AMG GT3. Easily the best looking car, best looking livery, best looking car here. Number, brings better and back, everything right back on. Lamborghini Huracan GT3 right here. And then right beside it is an Acura NSX GT3. Acura LMDH, or here GTP, cars being ready to go into scrutineering. The BMW just got off, so now the Acura is ready to go through tech inspection. Waiting for its turn, scrutineering. And that would explain, and that is why we didn't see the LMP3 cars. They're out on the track getting ready for, I will have to look at the schedule. I'm not sure which race they're about to attend, which race they're about to contest. Those aren't LMP3s. Scratch that. Another LMP2 car.
Translate all that speed that you had in practice.
We're very fortunate.
Another Lamborghini Huracan GT3. Starting to rain now. Make the race a lot more interesting.
And it was the same in qualifying. Very, very close in qualifying.
Lamborghini GT3 side by side.
Now, how excited are you not only to be involved in this first inaugural BET Sports Car Challenge, but cars out there, and
BMW GT3.
two cars out there. It's going to be a big sprint. It's going to be 45 minutes.
The BMW
and tell us a
GT3,
little
the
bit about
BMW
your strategy.
GT4, and the Super GT4, all powered by the same BMW straight 6 turbo engine.
All we're doing racing always makes up a little bit of, how shall I say,
Also, the Aston Martin GT3 and Aston Martin GT4 are powered by the same engines, just in different states of tune. Mercedes AMG GT3, two of those. So it appears as if it will be GT4 cars
people who have never been in a
and
car before. When you
LMP3
are
cars
the
that are getting
slower
ready
of the
to
two
race.
divisions, how
We have the BMW
different is
GT4.
that? Because you can't go on the attack. Is it more about
This is probably the second best looking car that will be competing in the 24 hours. The McLaren 720S GT3. Absolutely beautiful looking car. Beautiful and very aggressive looking. It's the only McLaren that's competing this year.
along just of your lap time in your race. So big heads up, John.
Another Aston Martin GT3. So that's Aston Martin GT3, Aston Martin GT4, AMG GT3. All use the same engine. GT3 is just in a slightly higher state tune than the two GT4 cars.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Porsche GT3. Now,
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our Murillo Racing driver, another Mercedes number 65. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Rover.
about Porsche GT3s, and unlike a regular 911, which has the engine behind the rear axle, the Porsche GT3 cars are actually mid-engine, so the engine is behind the driver but in front of the rear axle. Now we have the WeatherTech Sports Car Challenge Championship cars out on track. These are cars that will be running the 24 hours out on track practice.
Simon Williams.
Awesome. And what do you do?
I'm a third mechanic, rear tire changer in the pit stops.
Awesome. So this is the 32 Mercedes AMG GT3. Awesome. So what does the tire changer do during the 24-hour race? What do you do between pit stops and everything?
Try to rest and keep your energy up. It's a pretty long race. I've done it. This will be my 7th year doing the 24, and it's really exhausting. It turns into about a 40-hour work day for us, and 24 of those hours we're doing pit stops like every hour or less. So we go through about 24 sets of tires in the race and about 350 gallons of race fuel.
Okay. Now, what kind of fuel do these cars run off of?
It's 100 octane racing fuel.
Okay.
VP.
Now, during the weekend, what other responsibilities do you have?
We check the alignment on the car pretty much every time it comes in, and we're constantly, making changes and trying to get the car as fast as it can be.
Okay.
With the input from the drivers, engineers.
So, do you also do setup work with the car?
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, how difficult is this to work on compared to a regular road car?
It's actually quite a bit easier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't say?
Yeah, it's set up to be fairly easy to work on, so that's nice.
I noticed with a lot of these cars, the body panels, they pretty much break off. They have a lot of clips that makes it a lot easier than replacing any body panel on a road car.
Yeah, all the body panels on this car are all carbon fiber, and you can strip them all down in about a half an hour.
Nice.
The tub. So.
Now, what about rebuilding and everything? How long do these components last, like the engine, gearbox?
It just kind of depends a lot on the drivers and the races. And, lots of other things, we hour out parts, they get a certain amount of hours on it, but try to keep it in tip-top condition.
Now,
especially for a race like this, for a 24-hour race, it's a pretty big prep list of stuff to do. Lots of parts replaced and whatnot.
Now, during some teams, during the 24 hours, they'll change their brakes. Do you guys change your brakes, or do you just use one set throughout the race?
Yeah, we'll have to do a brake change sometime during the night.
Okay. About how many hours will it take before you have to change your brakes?
I don't know, 15, 18 hours, something like that.
Okay.
Usually. Depends a lot on the car, drivers.
Okay. Now, is there a particular strategy you stick to try and conserve tires, brakes, fuel, or is there a certain strategy, or do you just go full out for the whole race?
Yeah, there's definitely some strategy involved. 24-hour race is a really long race, and if you go all out for 24 hours, you're probably going to break your car. So we try to, keep it in the best condition until morning, and then we go after it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
So what are your names?
I'm Mike Skeen. I'm Kenton Cook.
Awesome. And who do you race with?
We're racing for Team Fourth Hawk Motorsports AMG GT3.
Awesome. So, can you tell me a little bit about the strategy and the preparation that goes into a 24-hour race in the 24 hours of Daytona? Like, what are you doing during the roar before the 24? What are you trying to feel in the car, and how are you getting the car prepared for this race?
Well, it's just about getting a car that's got a comfortable setup for the whole, event, and trying to make sure that you got the fastest car for the end of the race. And so we're just working through a bunch of different setup changes, trying different sway bars, ride heights, all kinds of stuff to make sure we got a good car that we'll be happy with it.
Okay, so based on setup is very driving style dependent. So can you tell me a bit about how do you like your car? Do you like a little bit of understeer, oversteer? What's the comfortable car in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, a comfortable car is one that doesn't want to kill you. So, but a good car is one that does everything you need it to do. And sometimes it's hard to get the perfect medium. But in the end, you'll always be striving for something to be better. But generally, right now we have a good car, and you're going to run out of time before you make the car perfect. So you just got to make sure the car is comfortable to drive.
So, what do you do during a 24 hours? Because it's a hard race. So how do you stay focused and make sure that you're not making mistakes and make sure you're awake during this race? What do you do?
Well, you got to get little bits of rest whenever you can between your stints, and when you're in the car, it's pretty intense. You got to focus, but learn to kind of pace yourself mentally, not lose your focus is critical, and that's something that probably a lot of new guys struggle with, getting into the sport and kind of being overwhelmed and putting too much mental energy into it. But you got to kind of relax and let yourself just get into a rhythm.
Okay.
Yeah, you just got to sleep when you can. Yeah, you got to learn to take yourself out of the race when you're not in the race, so that when you get in the car, you're fully focused.
Awesome. Now, I imagine, is it hard to sleep with all that adrenaline from a stint? Like, how long is a stint and how long is your rest? How do you work that out between your teammates?
Well, it always varies. I mean, the stints are about an hour, but sometimes you double or triple them up. And then, you usually get a couple hours off, but it always depends on exactly how the strategy falls and how it's change it up and stuff. So sometimes you only get, maybe 2 or 3 hours off. But it's tough to kind of wind down when you just got out of a car, but you got to make sure that you can kind of make yourself do that so that you get a little bit of sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably easier to take yourself away from the track and wind down the adrenaline the more you do it. Like, first time I ran the 24, I couldn't sleep because I was just so wound up about the whole race, worrying about everything else, but really what I was doing.
Now, in regards to pacing, how do you pace the car for this race? Is it just full throttle all the way, or do you kind of back off? How do you pace yourself, and how do you manage your tire strategy and everything so that you can make the car last throughout the race and give yourself the best chance for a win?
I mean, you're pretty much pushing the whole race. There might be little bits that you do a little bit more. You push to take curves a little bit more at the end of the race and stuff like that. But other than just not making contact, not abusing the car on curves, you're basically pushing 100% the whole time. The stints are short enough that the tire lasts pretty well, as long as you don't really kill it and abuse it. But the cars now are so stout that you really have to push the whole time.
Awesome. So, do you end your stints at the pit stops, like when it's time to change tires? Do you change drivers, or when do you trade off the car?
Basically, most people's strategies here with good drivers are going to be you double stint. So each driver is going to do 2 stints, so 2 full fuel runs, and every time you fill up, they put tires on so that you don't lose advantage with tires. So the fuel is the thing that takes the longest, and usually tires can get done before that. So really, your fuel is your limiting factor. So long as your tires and your driver change get done before that, there's nothing that's slowing you down.
Awesome. So how long can you go on a set of tires and a full thing of fuel? How long will that last you? How many laps?
About an hour. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, is there anything else you could tell me, or is that it?
I think you know everything now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know our strategy.
Well, would you tell
any other teams.
Okay, would you tell me a little bit more about what you're doing this weekend? Like, you'll go out on track, you'll bring the car back, and you'll go through setups. Can you tell me a little bit, without revealing any strategy, can you tell me what you're thinking in the car and what's going through your head as you're adjusting the car to make it more perfect, and how you have to compromise between different driving styles?
I mean, it's a constant discussion between all the team members and engineers to make sure all the drivers are kind of on the same page about what changes we need, and you cycle through a list of priorities to figure out what's going to make the best car for everybody. But fortunately, we're all giving about the same feedback. We all see things the same way, so we haven't been fighting each other too hard for different changes.
Now, since there are several Mercedes cars here, do you get any other data from the other teams, or are they pretty tight-lipped about it?
Not really sure.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. Well, it goes without saying that I really enjoyed my time at the Roar before the 24. It's nice to see all the cars, all the drivers, get some interviews with the drivers and some crewmates. Got some good footage. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.